Hi, I'm Terry.
And I'm Misty.
And we are Empowered Women Rock. All right, so little interesting fact.
I'm excited to hear this because I haven't heard it yet.
So, and this will be news to my parents too, so I hope they're not watching.
Ooh. I'm not going to do that.
No.
Go ahead.
So, my escape, again, for those of you who knew, I grew up in Fannin, went to school in Goliad. My escape was being able to, while I was in junior high and high school, was being able to be in athletics. Because I got to, get out and meet different people, see different people. So in 6th grade, I was in track. It was the first year of track for junior high. And we had a track meet in Schulenburg. And I will never forget it. I actually got 3rd place on the 200 meter dash. So couldn't tell that now, but I could run a little bit back in the day. So we're in Schulenburg, and I meet this cute boy there, So we're over.
I don't know where this is going.
No, it's not bad.
I don't know where this is going.
It's not bad. So meet this cute boy, and we're talking and stuff. And before we left, meet's getting over, and we're going head into the bus. And before we left, he kissed me. And I guess I kind of sort of kissed him back, I'm assuming.
How old were you? You were in
I was in
6th grade?
6th grade.
Okay.
So he
how well?
So he kissed me.
How well could you kiss in the 80s in 6th grade? Go ahead.
Exactly.
It's not like nowadays.
So here's the funny part. So the next day or two, I started noticing, God, my throat sure hurts. And then I started kind of getting swollen a little bit around here. And of course, we didn't have Google, back in the 80s when I was in 6th grade. So I pulled out this encyclopedia. Now, my mom is a retired nurse. And so I said...
I am so ready to know where this is going.
So I said, what are the symptoms for mono?
Mono? That's what I was thinking. Oh my gosh, that's what I was thinking.
And so I'm looking in the encyclopedia and like, oh, check. And I had told my mom earlier, man, Mom, my throat's hurting. I don't feel too good. And when I was like, oh, and self-diagnosing myself, as I do today on Google, but back with the encyclopedia, I was like, oh my God, I have mono. I can't tell my mom that. So she was like, oh, how are you doing? I'm good. I'm miraculous cure. I'm good. I'm good. So that was my...
So what did you have? Do you know?
I don't know. And now that I think about it, because I had tonsillitis.
Typically mono, doesn't it lead... I don't know a whole lot about mono. Ask me about some other stuff.
So they say. So yeah, I could have had tonsillitis because I was like a serial tonsillitis sufferer. But it just scared me to death that I had mono.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, did she have mono?
And so I would it was a while before I had to know somebody before I would kiss. That really made a difference. Before I would kiss him, it terrified me to death. So
maybe that should have happened to me. I probably wouldn't have kissed as many boys as I did.
Oh my gosh. But the funny part is that, my WebMD back then was the encyclopedia.
That is hilarious.
That was pretty funny, so.
That is hilarious.
That's my little tidbit.
That's
On
pretty
to
funny.
you, Misty.
Okay, so I called my husband because I asked him, I was like, I don't know what to talk about today. And he was trying to give away all my secrets. And I'm like, I don't even know why you are
telling everything.
Why are you telling everything? So I was sitting here and I was thinking, so since yours is funny, I'll do a kind of funny one.
Okay.
Ooh, I forgot to put my phone on silent. My bad. So anyway, okay, so here's the deal. I shake myself to sleep. I rock myself to sleep. Don't be looking at me like that. You may have had mono. Okay, so here's
does that play out?
And I'm not the only one in my family who does it either. So, okay, so...
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so if I'm having problems going to sleep, I'll just rock myself to sleep.
And it's genetic too.
I rock myself to sleep. Okay, but here's the thing. The first time that I slept with my husband. Okay, so the first time I slept with my husband, I was gonna say something, but there ain't nobody's been.
We're gonna keep this PG. Thank you.
So we're going to sleep, right? And
Ooh, we are
you know
going
how like
downhill.
before you like. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, if you're like sleeping with someone before you get married, there's like, you kind of like are really careful about. You don't want them to know who like you really are. Like, you sneak out of bed and you put like some powder and some lip gloss. Okay, so he like I really didn't sleep all that well. So here's the deal. So we get married, and our first night, like together, like married, like in a bed. I mean, we were in bed. Never mind.
Oh,
this
God.
is sounding really bad. But anyway,
Oh, God.
so I'm like, I start shaking myself, like rocking myself to go to sleep. And Patrick's all,
What is wrong with you?
What's going? Is there an earthquake? He was so like legit scared. Thought that the house was good, that was shaking,
Oh,
that there was
my
an
gosh.
earthquake outside. My husband was petrified of what was going on because the bed just started shaking out of nowhere. He had no clue when he married.
Oh, my Lord.
He had no clue when he married.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's really, I don't do it as much now. But no,
Oh.
like my daughter does it too. Scared her husband to death.
Oh, my gosh.
Also, but yeah, so I shake myself to sleep.
That is interesting.
I feel like the more people know about me, they're like, we always thought she was kind of crazy. Now we
it's
know.
very powerful.
So yeah, I don't shake myself to sleep. I rock myself to sleep.
Okay.
But just for a point, my cousins do it too. So it's not
So it's
just
genetic.
me.
It's genetic.
It's genetic, yes.
Something.
It has to be. It has to be. It has to be one of the.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there you go.
So interesting.
So
facts
Terry
about
maybe
us.
had mono.
Exactly.
I tried to scare my husband to death because I shake the bed. There's fun facts about it.
Whew. All right. So,
What are we going to talk about that's
moving
beneficial?
on. Today's topic, and we wanted to be helpful for you moms out there who have kiddos who are going to college, and especially those also who are going into high school. So what we want to do is give you some of our tidbits. Some of the things are in retrospect, what we wish we would have known to have done earlier. Some of the things are just as we continue to go along with kids in college and one going into high school, but just some tips, especially again for moms to be aware of and hopefully may be helpful.
Okay. Yep.
So I will start, and I'm kind of looking more from the going into high school age because that's what Ayana's heading into. We've already had the discussion though about everything counts in terms of school. So yes, junior high, great. However you ended up being ranked, you ended up being ranked. But, come that first class, come high school, everything counts. Every point counts. Every, volunteer service hour counts. It's just, it really is, an important time to make sure you take advantage of everything you possibly can. If you're going to college or going to continue to further your education, not waiting until the last minute to take it seriously.
Right.
Really, really understand, everything counts. So parents, if it's, kids, if they're having trouble in something, get to the teacher early on. Don't wait till the, end of the semester or, the end of the year. Get to them early on if you need to, talk to the principal, or just make sure that child is regimented. Do that early on because starting high school, everything counts.
Okay, I can actually play off of that a little because I currently have two fourth-year students. Becca is fourth year at the University of Texas in Austin. Stop it with the horns, Terry. And Paige is fourth year in Texas State in San Marcos. Okay, so when Terry says everything counts, she means everything counts. So I didn't know this until my kids got older, but for you parents who don't know, when you apply to college, you apply the beginning of your senior year. So most of the colleges in Texas deadline is like the first part of December. So whatever your ranking is at the end of your junior year is the ranking they're going to use. So you can't, if your student is, like she said, if your student's having some issues, your senior year is really not going to count. So, I mean, I'm not saying not, you know what I mean. but it's not going to count academically. All it's going to do is finish up your credit so you can get your diploma.
Right.
So if you have students in high school and they are wanting to go to college, if you are wanting them to have the rank to be able to get in without having to fight for their place, because a lot of colleges or a lot of universities in Texas is top 10%.
Absolutely. And some are even
Well,
less
I was
than
going to
that.
say, University of Texas has been a 7%er for a while, and I
Right.
think that Texas A&M is on that too now. So you've got two of the top universities that are only taking the top 6 or 7% in the schools. So yes, it's if your student is having an issue, do not wait till the last minute. Get on it right away,
Right.
and that'll help.
Right. And with that, I'm going to tag in real quick too. David and I actually went in last week to speak with our the principal and superintendent at Ayana School. Again, just we talked about a couple of things. One of them, actually, Misty's going to be covering here in just a bit. But again, just kind of making sure everything's going according to plan. And one of the things he said he advises, which is really, really great advice, he advises that if a student is going to try to get a scholarship in a sport, that they concentrate on the strongest sport that they are in and just play that one sport. And, then kind of leave the rest to be able to concentrate on academics. Because, again, back to the whole 10% rule and, how colleges are really tightening down, especially here in Texas, on who they accept. If your child is really strong in, football, then, again, just a consideration, not that you have to, but, his thing was maybe they don't also do baseball, basketball, and track.
Right.
Where they're just, really stretched in terms of time. Maybe they do that one sport, give their all into it, train in that sport during off season as well so they can get better and hopefully be able to get an athletic and an academic scholarship. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there as well that you may want to think about.
Yep. Nope. So the one thing in retrospect from my two daughters that I wish we would have done is I was explaining to Terry, there's really no such thing as 4 years is a bachelor's degree is a 4-year degree anymore. That's not the way that it works. If you want to graduate in 4 years, I know that Rebecca is taking a ton of classes during the semester, but she has had to take summer classes every single year for her to graduate on time. And she actually started in her first semester, she started undeclared because she was wanting to go into pre-med. And then she decided that wasn't for her. So she opted into the social work part of that, of the medical field. So only one of her credits didn't pass
Transfer.
on. All of her other ones went with her for her program. But the problem is that there's a lot of courses to take, and those courses are hard, especially if you're coming in from a Victoria school, because they do not teach you how to study. I'm sorry, I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and I know it's out of your hands, but our students are not being taught how to study. They're not being taught what to expect when they get to college, and so the dropout rate is
Pretty
high.
Especially that
When
first
you
year.
look at the retention rate for these schools, if you can get a retention rate over 50%, you're like, oh yeah, that's great. Because these kids can't hang. They get there and they discover just how hard it is, but we didn't realize how important dual credit is. So a couple of things. I know that when I don't know if I'm not sure about your junior year, but I know you're for sure your senior year. There are some courses you can start taking in college. Is that what you're going to say?
In your junior year, you can start doing it.
Okay,
in high school.
so there you go. But I know the school offers dual credit. I know that there's if you want to save some money because it is expensive to send your children to a university, the best thing that you can do is be prepared. Fill out a bunch of scholarships. There is quite a few. I know that when you go into, because we talked about it before, the University of Texas has it. If the school that you come from is a lower ranked school, you can apply for certain scholarships. Now, some of these scholarships do come with time. They come with community service. They come with, they're not just free money. You have to do something. But I mean, if somebody's going to tell me I can have $20,000 over a 4-year period of time for, picking up trash on a Saturday, you can bet
right.
my kids are going to be picking up trash on a Saturday, and if they need me to help, I will. But it's the more that you can do to alleviate the financial aspect of college, because I think that isn't it like 48,000 is the average debt that they graduate with? That's 50 grand. That's a lot of money.
Coming right out of school.
And loan forgiveness is so difficult to obtain.
Right.
It is they tell you that it's not, but it is. So unless you're going in a position like social work where there just is not any social workers.
And they're willing to do that.
Then yes, but if you're coming out as a teacher, like you're going to have to teach in,
and pay back those loans.
In poverty-stricken, schools, and there's just a lot of things, a lot of hoops you have to jump through that for many teachers it's not worth it. But it's just difficult, so that's something that helps.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'll also say too is you don't have to wait until senior year to start applying actually for scholarships. There is a website that's out there. I've given it out for years. It's fastweb.com. So yeah, it's www.fastweb.com, and it literally, so if I'm sure we've all been on like a job search board like Indeed or Monster or Career Builder. I mean, that's what this thing does. This particular website basically curates scholarships from all over the U.S. Your child goes in, fills out a profile. I mean, and they ask, everything. If you have your family has a military background. If your second toe on your foot is longer than the other. If they ask,
there's
all types of things that it asks. And what it'll do is it'll send to their inbox those different scholarships that they should qualify for or be at least appropriate for to apply. And some of those scholarships can actually be given in high school, especially kind of starting at sophomore, junior year. And, if they win the scholarship, it just kind of sits there almost like an escrow kind of waiting for them. So you don't have to wait to start getting things together for scholarships. So
that's what you're going to spend your entire junior and senior year doing anyway. So you might.
And the importance of dual credit as well, back to money, is it is a whole. If you take a look, if you haven't yet, look at what the credit hour cost is at a junior college like Victoria College compared to an A&M, a UT, A&M, Kingsville. So if they can get that dual credit knocked out at home, again, at that local junior college, it saves not only the time, but it's going to save a significant amount of money.
Right.
Next thing is going to be, and I tell this to high schoolers all the time. Literally, I've been hammering this into Ayana over the summer. Explore career options. And I know, they're young at 14, 15, 16 years old and may not really know. But if they have an idea of, hey, I might want to go into that, God, this hair is killing me. Don't wait. Start job shadowing. One of the best things you can do, again, 14, 15, 16 years old, is job shadow some of those people in professions that child might want to go in. Because if they can eliminate something right off the bat, that's all the better, because they're not going to spin their wheels, going into college, going down that path when they could have realized 3 years ago, they didn't want to do that. So if there's anybody, especially here in the Crossroads, if you have a child that you want to do job shadow, whether high school or college, and you need help with that, please contact me. I have all types of professional contacts that I can help get them up to do some job shadow or just to meet somebody in that particular profession where they can kind of pick their brain. And if it's somebody outside of the Crossroads, contact me anyway, because it's nothing for me to be able to make a connection in your area. And it doesn't even have to be in your area. With technology, they can talk to somebody across the country that's in that. But start exploring options much earlier than that, senior year in high school or once they've gotten into college. Just start taking a look at them.
I'm going to say the one thing that a lot of people kind of don't want to hear. Do not force your kid to go to school.
Great point.
Because
great point.
we made that mistake with our first child. And our rule in our house was, is if you want to stay in our house, you're going to graduate college. You're going to graduate high school and you're going to go to college. And that was the rule. And our oldest tried, and she hated school. She hated it. She just, there was nothing about it that she liked. And she actually, you know, she bounced around from like little jobs here and there, picked up some job training. She's going to be 25 in October. She hates it when I say she's going to be 25, but girlfriend, you're going to be 25. But I want to say maybe like 20, she's been there a couple of years now. But she got a job in for an oil field company. Now, it's not like your standard oil field company that, you know, if the oil field's up or down. This type of company, they monitor wells, whether they're active. I think that this is what it is. If I'm wrong, she will tell me that I'm wrong. But my understanding is they monitor stuff.
Okay.
So whether the oil field's really active or not, those things still have to be monitored. They can't just like sit there and explode oil everywhere. I don't know how that works. But anyway, they're always busy. So even when the oil field went down, she was still busy, and she's worked her way up, and she just took over a department.
Oh, wow.
And she's making what she's making. There are a lot of people in this town who've been in the same job for 20, 30 years that are not making what she's making. I mean, in another, you know, couple of years, she's going to be making, you know, a good chunk of change working for this company. Now, they have offered to let her pursue her education, and she may do that one class at a time, but I think that it's important. My son has no interest. He went for a little bit. He doesn't like it. He wants to find a trade. So if there's something that your child enjoys, don't force them to go to school. You'll regret it later, and they'll resent you for it, and then it's just going to make for a big mess. So we had 2 that went, 2 that didn't. They're all doing great. So.
And that's great advice. There's so many vocations, skills, kind of skill trades, so much in technology, especially like the technology arena too, that, you know, you don't have to have a
I learned how
degree. You've got to have experience.
I own a marketing company. I do not have a degree in marketing. My college training came from accounting, and it's what I do every day.
Right.
So you can learn a skill set.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go to college and I'm not saying that college is bad. I mean, I'm a big fan.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it's not for everyone.
Exactly.
Which kind of probably leads into Terry's point. Kind
of the next thing for me is, and this is for both, I think, really kind of high school or college.
Yeah, it applies to both.
And I look at this in retrospect as well, just even in myself. Have fun, you know, enjoy. Yes, it's serious, but you also have to take the time to be able to have fun, enjoy, because those are times you'll never be able to go back to again.
Right.
So make sure you enjoy, you know, the high school experience. If it's, you know, prom, homecoming, whatever, you know, just, you know, being in the plays in school. You know, with Ayana, our rule, kind of when Ayana was born, David said, you know, we are her guides. So literally, it's kind of like a highway or a track. We're her guides on either side. And our job is to what we call keep her in the lane. She's got freedom through here. We just kind of keep her in the lane so she's not, you know, way out there. But encourage them to have fun, because these kids have so much stress on them, and a lot of times they don't come back and tell you as a parent how stressed they are.
You find out way later.
You know, stress with schoolwork. I assure you. Now, I thought we had a lot of schoolwork in school. We didn't have the amount of schoolwork, to me, that they have now. Even in 8th grade, Ayana would come home with just tons and tons. I'm like, oh my gosh, tons and tons of work. And it's a whole different type of work. So, you know, allow them to have fun. Encourage them to have fun and enjoy that time. And it's when you get to college, too, because, you know, I think back at times, there's some things in college I would have liked to have done to have more fun that I didn't do. And, you know, it's kind of regretful I didn't do some of those things.
No, I totally agree. When Rebecca started at UT, her thing was, you know, she's very much a homebody, and she just kind of wanted to be home, and so she wasn't really doing a bunch of social stuff. And this is her last year. I mean, she's put her heart and soul in every spare minute she's had, going to school every summer so she can graduate in 4 years. So she'll graduate this coming May, but she has. That's been the thing with her. Is she's like, Mom, I'm gonna really miss campus. She's like, I'm gonna really miss it, because she's kind of got to, you know, have the feel of being. I mean, that school's old. You know, the buildings are historic. You know, some of the buildings are historical, and it's grown so much. And she realizes now, when it's, you know, a year from being over, that you know, she's on. I mean, she's a grown up. When she walks that stage, she's done. She's grown up. So, I mean, I'm really like that too. Paige works a lot, so she has to. But I always have to remind her, take some time off. She's got all those little rivers around her in San Marcos.
Enjoy, yeah.
So that's what she does. And I mean, that's the point of being young,
Right.
Because eventually you're going to grow up and you're going to have kids, and everything's just going to get fun sucked. Yeah.
The fun sucked out of life.
Sucked out of you. Until they're grown and you get your fun back. I'm just kidding. But I'm not. I'm really not kidding. No, but yeah, just encourage them to have as much fun as they can while focus. Because you can focus on doing all these things and having fun. Yes. I mean, it's not gonna. How much time is it to go to prom?
Right.
You know, homecoming. You know, spend a little extra time on campus.
Absolutely.
Those sororities are kind of scary. When you walk past down the street and all these like trash bags and things are like hanging up on the fence so you can't see what's going on. You're like, what's happening in there? I want to go. I want to see what's my kids are like, Mom, you can't go in there. I was like, but I want to know what's going on.
No, you don't.
It sounds really fun. I probably don't want to know what's going on there. But
and the last thing that I'll say is, and especially for girls, again, especially for your daughters, make sure, if they're in junior high, well, it's got to really start before that, but have a relationship. And I know you can really kind of attest to this, Misty, but have a relationship with your children early on so that they feel comfortable coming and talking to you when things go on. Because if you don't have a close, open relationship, once they start getting into high school and college, where their issues are happening, just those life issues that they go through,
right?
You don't want them not to come to you. You don't want them getting their best advice from Susie, down the hall.
And that's where they're going to get it from. So, I mean, you need to make sure that you are, I mean, they're still going to ask their friends for advice anyway, but I mean, you have to, my big advice for women with daughters is make sure that they understand that you're not perfect. Because I grew up thinking my mother was, because there was never a conversation otherwise. Until I was much older. Had there been one, maybe things would have been a little different. But to me, I always made sure my children knew, the mistakes I had made. I didn't want them to make the same mistakes I made. And so, I mean, I know there were things that they hid from me. They came clean later. But half of it I already knew. My kids thought they were going to fool me.
We are mom.
They did.
You don't fool us.
No.
But yeah, so just make sure they can come to you and feel comfortable coming to you.
I agree.
We do live in a different world from when Misty and I grew up, where just different things can happen. Make sure they feel comfortable coming to you.
Yep.
But I think we are at the end of our time today, so we hope our little rant and our banter has been helpful for you moms that are having children that are going into high school, that are going into college. Please, if there's anything that you need, any sort of resources, anything to help, especially the kids, let us know, because again, Misty has two that are in kind of that last part of college, so she's got a lot of experience where she can help kind of just through that process. Anything that I can do to help as well, as your kids are going into high school, we're here to help and be a resource.
We are. And if you have a resource, if there's something that you know, scholarships available in town, anything that you are aware of, if you can just post it in the thread below, that would be great, or in the comments below, that would be wonderful. But other than that, you can visit us on our website, empoweredwomenrock.com, and visit our Facebook page. What else you got?
And share this video.
Oh, yeah, like and share us.
Absolutely. So I'm Terry.
And I'm Misty.
And we are
Empowered Women Rock.